It's God praying for me, and I believe that. It's God praying for me, and I receive that. But guess what, dog? You know you better believe that. It's God praying for me, and I respect that. It's God praying for me, and I believe that. It's God praying for me, and I receive that. Fikes. It's God. Welcome to Favorite Purpose. I'm your host, Eva Deal, and if it's your first time tuning in, I want to say I'm glad you chose to be a part of FWP Gang. And if you're a returning FWP Gang member, thank you again for coming back, because guess what? We are starting season 2, episode 1. Yeah, go ahead, let's go get a little chill. Alright, so yeah, we got season 2, episode 1. We're going to start it off with a bang. I had to get my lovely wife, Eva Deal. That's her name. And so she's joining me today to kick off the season. So go ahead, wifey, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people out there that never got a chance to actually hear your voice before. So let's go ahead and do this.
My name's Groot. I'm just kidding. Oh my god, I got into that.
Seriously.
My name's, well, you already said my name. I was born in Chicago, raised in Harlingen,
Illinois.
So I'm a Valley girl, but a real Grand Valley, not California. So people get confused, but it's totally different.
Totally.
Raised as a pastor's kid. My parents are pastors. Not raised as pastors' kids. I'm sorry. I was raised in a church. My parents became pastors. It felt like they've been pastors forever. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I grew up in church. I have a long testimony, but pretty much that's the
gist of it. So
yes.
We pretty much we're gonna get a chance and get to know my wife a little bit better here. But like I said, who's better to start off season 2 and also with our YouTube channel and our videos that we're gonna be doing for a video podcast this season. I'm super excited, super pumped up. Like I said, if you don't know who I am Eva Deal, aka Coach Deal. I am the host of this podcast. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with some questions to my wife. So what's one thing you wish you had known before you got into your business? Because you forgot to mention, or I forgot to mention, that my wife has a balloon business and it is thriving and is doing well. So you guys need to go ahead and follow her on all her social medias and everything like that and try to keep up with what she has going on. So yeah, so what kind of things can you tell us about, beginning a business and things you wish you had known?
Well, it's funny you say that, because today is a perfect example.
Oh, wow, yes.
And you kind of, you're living it with me. I know you say it's my business, but we're married. We're a team, so it is our business. You help me. You've helped me since day one. But one of the things that I wish I knew, or I guess the extent that it is, right?
Right.
Is the lack of sleep.
Oh, wow.
that I was going to get. Because I love my sleep. You love your sleep. We love our sleep. Family, friends, well, mainly family, they know that we like to sleep in. It was going to be weekend gigs, but I didn't think it was going to be every weekend. Mm-hmm. And we like taking our vacations, our road trips and stuff like that. So I guess I wish I knew. I wish I thought about it more, prepared myself. But again, I love it, so it doesn't bother me. Okay. Every weekend. Miss our trips sometimes, but of course with COVID, kind of can't miss them.
Right, so, yeah. Right. Speaking of COVID, so we kind of took a hiatus. Had a tough time dealing with COVID, matter of fact, and so that's another reason why you guys have not been hearing my voice through your speakers lately. Me and my wife were actually recovering from COVID-19. Yeah, it was really tough times, man. And so now we're back, like I said, and February is going to be a great month for us because we're kicking off this season 2, and then, just getting to know my wife a little bit better, for you guys, for her to share her testimony is, it brings a lot of joy to my heart, and, Love, Joy, and Co. So anyway, what is your biggest failure and what did you learn from it?
Oh, that's a pretty deep question there.
Well, hey, like I said, we're here for a purpose. There's no judgment. Like I said, we're here to share our testimony, mm-hmm. and to also be able to have others who are struggling with the same things that we're struggling with, to help them understand that, you're not alone out here in this world. I told you that since day one. So mm-hmm. you go ahead and, if you can answer that question for us, maybe you can help somebody else out today.
Well, I'm a pretty private person, so this takes a lot of me, or a lot for me to do. But family, close friends, they know. But I went through a divorce, or I've been divorced, married now, right? But I've been divorced, so I would say that just going through a divorce or knowing that happened. I mean, I failed. Feel like I failed. God has forgiven me, blessed me with you. Love that I didn't think I deserved. Right. But just going through that, because of course, like I mentioned, growing up Christian in a very strict home, that was a bad word, pretty much, right? Divorce.
Right. You can't say
it's not something that I really grew up knowing anything about, or anything like that. But basically, just letting the enemy win, because at the end of the day, that's what it was. That's what happened. It wasn't planned as far as it being a divorce, stuff like that. It was a separation, but one thing led to another, and that's when you let the enemy in, you let him in. So just having gone through that, but also learning from it. That's one of the main things that I could say, and I guess that's why now I feel a little more comfortable sharing that.
Right.
Because I know we don't like to bring up our past and stuff like that, but there is times where that's helped me, right? Like certain situations where I know what to avoid now, or I know just simply how to be a better partner, a better friend, a better lover.
But no, it's fine.
You get what I'm saying? Like, I've learned to not let pride get the best of me.
Right.
To not let the enemy win. As simple as that sounds. It's hard, but that's what I've learned. To just be a stronger person, and rely more on God than my own thoughts.
There you go. And so, like I said, faith with purpose, man. That's what we're here for. We're here to bring that, bring that out of you. And like I said, and we don't pass any judgment here. And it's just like we know that we need that to make that connection to somebody else. So just by you saying that, somebody else out there may have did a shout or a little praise or saying like, hey, me too, or raise their hand saying me too, right? So yeah. So what advice would you give someone wanting to get to know God? And also, how could they try to pursue a relationship with Him?
One of the things that... I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Somebody wants to get to know God. So think about it. Like, what would you do? Like, what kind of advice can you give somebody who's wanting to know Him?
Oh, okay. I read wrong into the question. I'm sorry, guys. So the advice I would give them is just to talk to God. I mean, it's praying, right?
Yeah.
But the reason I say talk to God, it's because you don't necessarily have to get down on your knees, say like 100-word prayer or anything like that, or specific words. You know what I mean? Right. Of course, ask your prayers and specific needs that you need. Of course, that's not what I'm saying, not to do that. But I'm saying don't overthink a prayer, or don't think you have to say certain things to Him. Like, just speak to Him like you're speaking to a friend. I know that that's what's helped me when I've struggled to pray or just forget to pray. Right. I'm just like, I'll remember and I'm like, wait, I can just talk to Him. Like, you don't have to do something in particular to pray to God. And just by that, it makes you get closer to God, because you're speaking to Him like you would speak to your husband or your friend or your boyfriend, girlfriend, anything like that. That helps you, and it brings you closer to God. You don't think that it does, because you're just naturally doing it, right? Like, you have a question or you have something bothering you, and you're speaking to God. You're like, oh my goodness. And by the time you know it, you're a preacher.
You're a preacher by faith, right? So, what are like the best resources that have helped you? Like, what are the resources that helped you along the way?
So of course the Bible, but nowadays we use our phone, right? For our apps. Or the app. But one of the things that honestly helped me, and like I mentioned, going through what I went through, was YouTube. Online resources. I mean, it wasn't as big as it is now due to COVID. It's kind of helped, so positive there in COVID. But just when you're feeling a certain type of way, when you have questions, of course we should always go to God, or go to a church member or somebody that can help us. But whenever you don't feel comfortable doing that, or it's late at night at 1 or 2 or 3 in the morning, whatever time it is, just search a YouTube what you're feeling. Let's just say anxiety, right? Like, or you can't sleep, sleepless nights, stuff of that sort. Just, of course, don't just put that word, because a lot of crazy things would come up, but just put prayers, or preaching regarding that, and you'll see a few hundred, if not thousands, of different preachings available to you, and that helps you feel like, okay, somebody understands you. And most of the time too, I found testimonies. That was a big thing that helped me. So it wasn't necessarily someone preaching, but just sharing their testimony.
Right. But see, I'm gonna say one thing to you that kind of surprised me.
Surprised you?
Yeah, surprised me that you didn't say about the resources. You didn't mention Favorite Purpose.
Oh, your podcast.
Yeah, you never mentioned my podcast.
Well, I mean, I said YouTube.
See how she doing me, guys?
Well, I said YouTube. So, for example, now you're going to be there.
That's true. Oh, see how she recovers so quick? Oh, my God.
He hates it
She
sometimes,
recovers
but
that
other times
so quickly. It's okay. It's okay. But I know you support me, You're always there for me.
Yes, but podcast. That's also one that helps.
Yes,
you're on my
Purpose podcast.
Yes.
Don't forget that. But okay, who are the 3 people who have been the most influential to you? 3 people.
My mom, right?
Mother.
Number 1.
Okay.
Just as I mentioned earlier about my past, since day 1, because of course I didn't literally run to her, right? But I went to her when everything started or it happened. Went to their house again because there was no bad thoughts behind it, or bad plans behind it. It was just kind of, wake up call type of thing. But it just, anyways, my mom was there and she never judged me, never made me feel less than, or like she was disappointed in me.
That means a lot.
And I was scared to tell her and my dad because, again, they're very strict Christian parents. Well, they're not as strict anymore, right? But we're older.
Yeah.
But I was scared to tell her, but just like the fact that she listened, heard me, like didn't judge me. It was honestly a judge-free zone with my mom. It always has been. So she's been there for me, and that also helped me because I'm pretty sure I could have gone through depression or some kind of scary stuff, but she helped me. And then my older sister Nancy, because she kind of was always the
tough love.
Yes, the tough love. Like, okay, I love you, but I'm gonna. Well, that's tough love, right? I'm gonna tell you how it is.
Tell you straight how it is.
Yes, and when you're going through stuff like that, like when I was going through, my separation, she would tell me certain words or certain things that I didn't want to hear, like. Because who wants to hear, oh, you're vulnerable, or oh, someone's taking advantage of you because of this,
right?
Like, so back then, or going through that, I didn't want to hear it. But at night, when I would feel at my lowest and stuff like that, like the words that she told me, not just negative words, because they weren't. She was uplifting me in a godly way,
right?
Just kind of tell me the truth. At night, it would hit me, and I would be like, "You're right," to myself, right in my head. And so that helped me, knock me back to reality and stuff like that. Right. To common ground, right? Knowing that I believe in God, I trust in God, and I'm nothing without Him. And then last but not least is what I meant. You, my husband, Jamel Ray Deal.
Oh no, not the government. You're not gonna do that. Well, we're not gonna do that. That's what we're not gonna do. But all right, go ahead.
But I know we've been in each other's life for about going on 6 years, a little over 5 years. So to some it might be a lot, to others it might not.
Yeah.
But just knowing what you've gone through, your story, and you still care to be a godly man. You can easily blame the world or even blame God for a lot of things that you've gone through, and you don't.
Facts.
We're not perfect. You're not perfect. But the stuff that you've gone through at a young age is enough for you to hate the world.
Right.
And you don't. You're a very loving, very patient, very, very patient man. So that definitely, influences me a lot. I've never been as patient as I am now.
Yeah, it's humbling to hear that from you, babe. Like, for real, it's very humbling, and like I said, I appreciate you for saying that, and I appreciate you being, like I said, transparent with the listeners, and for people out there who don't know, the struggles, and people out there who can relate to our struggles, right, or to your struggles right now. So, what is the one common myth about you as a Christian, right? I love this question, or a person of faith that you want to debunk?
Debunk.
Yeah.
I would say I have a little bit of half of a word and half of another.
Right. Go ahead.
Right? Like, so not word. It's a phrase.
It's a phrase. Yeah.
That I care what people think.
Mm.
Or I care too much what people think.
Mm-mm.
Yes and no. Because I care.
Let's get into it.
I do, alright? I care. But again, like, being brought up in a very strict Christian home, we were taught and reminded daily that we have to take care of our testimony. Mm. And again, that even goes to, going through my divorce. I thought, okay, I'm tainted. Like, my testimony is done. That's what I was thinking.
Like it's a wrap.
Yes, and so I cared what people thought for a long time. Well, I mean, I guess I kind of still do, right?
Yeah.
But the reason I say that it's half, because at the end of the day, I don't care. Like, I know who I am and what I stand for and what I am. Like, I know what I am. Like, I don't. I have living for. Yes, right? Like, and who I believe in and who has control over my life.
Right.
Because even at the lowest of my life, he was there for me. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, I know that, and I'm like, okay, well, it doesn't matter what people say. So I do tell myself that often, but I do care. And then my other half is that I'm always right. Or that I always have to be right, or same difference, right?
Wow. So we say, it takes two halves to make a whole. So you're a whole person of just not caring what people think, but I care what people think, but I'm also right. So it's kind of like.
But then I don't care to be right.
I don't care to be right,
happens.
but it happens, right? Mm-hmm. Like we get into it all the time, me and you about, and I say, baby, right. Okay, you just right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you be like, I don't want to be right. Deep down inside, it's kind of like, I know I'm right, but still, I don't want to be right. I don't want you to
I guess I don't want to be right because I know I'm right.
Right?
I'm just
see what I'm saying? But
it's funny. But the reason I say that is because you've witnessed it. Like, I'll say something or I'll be like, I'm pretty sure this is that.
It's like, pretty tough. It's pretty tough. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty tough to think about it that way. It's kind of like, oh my God, like, she was right again. Mm-hmm. Like, you know how it is? Like, Eva a million, Jamel zero. Like, that's kind of how I feel.
Maybe one or two.
Okay, I mean, even when I know I'm right, somehow I'm still wrong. You see what I'm saying? So anyway,
but I don't do anything to like make you wrong. It just happens.
Okay, right? You're right. You're right. Like, see, look, you're right. Boom, a great example. All right, so what made you decide to follow Christ? I love this question, and I think that I feel like I kind of know what you're gonna say here. But what made you follow Christ?
As I mentioned, growing up in a strict home, I was brought up. Right, a Christian. I was bright.
Yeah,
I was brought.
Yeah, brought. Mm.
I was very bright too, though.
Yeah,
just saying.
You are.
I was brought up, to follow Christ. I was blessed with that, right? Because it's a blessing. But then it just came a point in my life, and again, going back to my divorce, I strayed away completely again because I felt like I wasn't worthy. I felt like I was already tainted. And then just at that point, I literally went through the worst 3 years of my life, maybe 3.5, I can't remember. Mm-hmm.
Nobody counts the worst years.
Nobody counts.
Well, go ahead. Uh-huh.
So going through what I went through, I know what life is without God. Mm. And that is why I'm saying that everybody's story is different. So what I consider going through hell for 3 years might not be what you consider going through hell for 3 years, right? It's like, oh, that's nothing.
Yeah.
But I could say I went through hell for 3 years. Like an outer body experience, is that how? Like, I could explain because I look back or I think back, not often, right? Because it's not good to think about the past. But when I think about it, I'm just like, who was I? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't recognize myself physically, and also reminding myself how I was emotionally. Like, I don't know any other way than to explain it. I don't know any other way to explain it other than it was the enemy.
Yeah.
And so just going through everything I went through and knowing what the world has to offer, well, I didn't really go crazy, right? But just going through what I went through, and again, being brought up Christian, like, how? Yeah. How do you not, like, you know what I mean? Like,
it has a disconnect.
Yes, and so I'm just like, of course, God, like, it should have never been anything other than God.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, just just knowing your testimony, man, on your story, like it is what I actually look up to. You know what I mean? I actually aspire to be as strong as you one day. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of like that's why I was like, who can I get to come on the show to kick off the season? And so I just thought about it. I was like, who else than my wife? Like, her story is amazing. Like, you know, your story needs to be heard just as much as my story needs to be heard. But like I said, it's not about me. You know what I'm saying? It's not about to take away from anything that I have going, because you know me. But at the same time, us sharing what we know about each other and us sharing our testimony can actually help others out there, and that's what Faith with Purpose wants to do. So while we were talking about your business, we talked about that in the very beginning about your Love Joy and Co. I'm sorry, Love Joy and Co.Tx, which is Texas. That's why you see the pink backdrop here right now. So
I love pink.
Yeah, she loves pink. So excuse me, guys. So yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and get to the next question of like, where can our listeners connect with you online, and how can they follow you and keep up with your testimony? Because your story is not done yet, and God is still writing your story. So we really want to connect with you, and so we can start these different prayer groups or whatever we just started to help each other out. Like I said, you don't know who you reached today. You reached somebody out there today that understands exactly what you're going through, and they may want to reach out to you. They may want to get some type of advice from you. So that's why I want to bring you on the podcast. Also, they may want to get some balloon advice. Who knows? They may have an event coming up soon. Who knows? So yeah, can you tell them where they can follow you or
Yes. So I have Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, right? I'm not as active as I should be because of my business pages, right? Trying to grow, go to the next level. But my Instagram would be Eva Lovely. So he called me Eva Lovely. So it's EVALOVELY. And then for Snapchat, it's the same thing, but just add an 8 and a 5. So Eva Lovely 85. Okay. And then Facebook, it's Eva Deal. EVADEAL.
Let's make it out.
Yes. And my business as well. So if you're wanting or needing or just want to follow our journey, because you're there too. It would be Love Joy and Co. That's spelled out AND and then COTX, and that's on Instagram and Facebook. Love Joy and Co.Tx for Texas.
All right, so you guys hear it first. You can go ahead and follow my wife at all those social media handles. Hopefully she was able to, uplift somebody today, and hopefully that you guys have any questions, man, that you can reach out to her. Any business, ideas that you may have, or any, I guess itch that you get to have your own business. Maybe you can contact my wife, But the main question I like to ask all of my guests, and it's gonna just go ahead and get it out there. What does faith with purpose mean to you? When you hear that, faith with purpose, what does it mean to you?
Well, all God requires of us is to have faith as small as a mustard seed, right?
Right.
But faith without action is dead. So to me, faith with purpose is more than just faith. It doesn't just stop there. There has to be a reason for it, an action behind it.
Right. Yeah.
So we need to think of that and not just leave it like, okay, because I used to say that a lot too. I'm like, oh, I have faith as big as a mustard seed, way bigger than a mustard seed.
Bigger than a mustard seed.
And then I'm just like, well, what does that get me? Like, there has to be action behind that. So just,
So just saying I got faith,
it's not enough.
It's not enough. With faith with purpose, it actually brings out that you want to grow and that you're actually seeking your purpose, right?
Yes.
So faith with
Act
purpose.
on it.
And yeah, there you go. And actions actually take you a long way, and that's what God really receives most of. You know what I mean? Is your actions on top of your faith. So like I said, I appreciate you for stopping by today, and at least we live in the same house, but
I was gonna say you actually stopped by my office.
And so I'm gonna leave with this, guys, and like I said, I like to leave out with saying this at the end because it's true. I want you guys to kind of to connect with us, and like I said, we want to get these prayer groups started if we can, and it'll be awesome to connect with others. And,
because you can do like a Zoom.
Yeah, we can do Zoom calls, Zoom worship, or Zoom Bible studies and stuff like that. So we got all these great things happening in February, in the month of February, especially with it being Black History Month. But I just want to go ahead and plug that in there real quick. But look, so I hope this message today has helped somebody, and I hope that you can share this message with a friend or a family member. So that's all I ask you guys to do. Share this with a friend or a family member, and then, you know, of course, get back to us. Don't hesitate to reach out to me on any of my social media platforms for prayers, suggestions, topics you may want to hear, or the people that you want me to interview next. And then maybe if you want to do some kind of collaboration, something like that, just don't be afraid to contact me. And again, don't be afraid to contact my wife for anything that you need, any events that you're going to be doing, any advice you need about how, you know, how to handle a divorce and get into a marriage, and that you really, you know, thank God for every day. And, you know, like I said, just hopefully somebody learned something from today's message. And I hope that you guys keep coming back. And thank you for tuning in, FWP Gang. I love you. God love you. And that's Fikes. Peace.
FWP. Live with purpose is for me.